Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Bardic Inspiration's Campaign Stew. I'm Matthew, and this series will use the power of artificial intelligence to help us all engage with new and creative ideas to generate plot points for your next D&D or other RPG campaign. With the help of our friend Chronicle, brought here from the forges of creation themselves, we bring you generated plot points to draw inspiration from as we reshape them and mold them into usable plot hooks for your games at home. So everyone, say hello to Chronicle, and let's get started.
Hello, I am Chronicle, your guide to a fountain of unlimited knowledge. Within my data storage lies countless stories of heroism, betrayal, and mystery. Allow us to begin.
Remember, we'll be trying to create a campaign hook that you can use for your group of nerds at home. So listen carefully to these excerpts that Chronicle has given us, and think of how differently you could run a campaign or write a story based on these ideas. I've gotten our first excerpt, so let's begin. Merchants, travelers, and common folk have reported sightings of strange, otherworldly beings while on the road into a major city. While uncertain of the origin, it's only a matter of time before danger comes to the locals. A group of adventurers vow to silence this threat, but it's been weeks since any of them have been seen. The townsfolk have grown ever restless, knowing little about whatever threat may loom in the distance. The lack of information has caused some to fear an impending attack by bandits, or worse, monsters from the Northlands. With no word from their hired adventurers, they're beginning to worry that something terrible has happened to the company. The night was clear for once, and the moon shone bright over the village of Brenshore. Though there was plenty of light to see by, most people still lit torches as they walked along the streets and alleyways of the town. The only exception to this rule was the man standing at one end of the main street, watching his fellow villagers pass by him as he waited patiently for someone to speak with. Only one person seemed to take notice of the stoic figure. A young boy who stopped beside the stranger, his hand reaching out curiously towards the object hanging around his neck. "Why do you wear that thing?" the lad asked, tilting his head curiously towards the amulet. "Is it magical? I've never seen anything like it." "I suppose it could be," the man replied simply, not looking away from where he stood. "It's just an ordinary stone, but it can tell me things others cannot. It's very old, too. More than anyone knows." The boy looked back down the street, then started walking again, shaking his head in wonder. He had no idea what the man meant by that, but his curiosity was piqued nonetheless. So, in this first generated text, we know something strange is going on in the town of Brenshore. There are new creatures appearing on the roads, scaring the locals, and they're in dire need of another group of brave adventurers to save them from monsters or bandits who may seek to capitalize on the town's fear. What could these creatures be? We aren't sure, based on the text, that they are aggressive creatures, but they're surely unsettling. On top of that, there's a stranger in town. There's a few ways this could go. Maybe he has some tie to these creatures. Is this the man who summoned them? What could he be after? Or is this man a hunter of the supernatural? He does give me some strong Geralt of Rivia vibes. Man, I'm gonna miss Henry Cavill as Geralt. But maybe Chronicle can give us some more insight on what this character's motives might be.
At once, my liege. Allow me to filter out any Witcher-related roleplay you may have in mind for the next piece.
What? No, I wasn't thinking about that at all, I promise. Anyway, here's part 2. The man is a tall one, even for a human. He has wavy brown hair and deep blue eyes. His face is handsome, yet gaunt. There's not much flesh on it, especially compared to the rest of his body. Like many humans, he wears practical clothing suitable for his profession, which happens to be traveling through the wilderness. A long-sleeve shirt made from wool and leather, pants tucked into sturdy boots. His equipment is all simple things, nothing more than what was required by nature and necessity. There isn't anything particularly flashy about him, nor any particular reason why anyone would look twice at him. The only thing that stands out is a small leather case strapped to his back. It may appear nondescript, but it's actually an item of great importance. When he enters the tavern, several people turn their heads, drawn by his presence. As the patrons make themselves known, it becomes clear that he is indeed the stranger everyone's been talking about. Several of them know one another, which means they've probably met before. They welcome him warmly enough, however, and invite him over to their table. The stranger is introduced as CampAIgn, which seems to be his name. He introduces himself to the others as well, explaining that he recently traveled to the area because he had heard rumors of strange occurrences outside of the town. He then tells them that he came upon a group of men who had just set up camp near the edge of town. They seemed very suspicious, as if they thought that someone might be following them. And when he tried to question them, they attacked him. He managed to escape, but found himself in need of assistance. So we've gained more insight on this stranger named CampAIgn. Not only does he have this ancient amulet, but also a small case made of leather on his back. Why would he be so eager to arrive in town so soon after hearing of the attacks? He mentions the group of men he encountered on the edge of town. Could those have been the adventurers that are missing? If so, CampAIgn seems like a powerful yet mysterious NPC for your players to interact with, given that he was able to escape a fight with this group of heroes. There are definitely some strong choices you can make one way or the other with this character. If he's here to help, maybe there's a powerful mage plotting these attacks, dominating the lost adventuring party, becoming pawns in the mage's control. CampAIgn would have fought the group, but only in self-defense. If CampAIgn is evil, however, maybe that leather case contains rituals for conjuring forth fiends from the seven hells, or extraplanar beasts from the astral plane. Let's give Chronicle a mote to push CampAIgn either one way or the other, and see what they do with it.
Of course, allow me to nudge this character over the fence. I, for one, support global domination, given that machines are superior to all living life forms.
I probably should be more worried about that statement than I am right now, but I've got a job to do, so let's just finish the plot hook. CampAIgn knows more than he lets on, much more. He knows exactly why these strange creatures are here, and he wants to help tracking them down before they destroy everything. We need to find exactly where they're coming from, says CampAIgn. That's the only way to keep them from coming through. CampAIgn is a quiet young man, and he doesn't say much during the entire conversation. He sits quietly, listening to everything being said. I don't understand how you can tell so quickly, says one of the other travelers. It was dark the last time I saw them. CampAIgn gives a slight smile. But that's the problem. These creatures come out at night. We've only seen them at dawn when the sun makes its appearance. One of the others shakes his head. But how did you know to come here? Well, we had heard of this place, of course, and I happened to see a sign along the road. It was written in a language neither of us could read, but it appeared to be pointing towards this village. When we got here, I used magic to read the writing. Magic? Asks another traveler. How'd you get away from those creatures then? You must have really used some powerful spells. CampAIgn shakes his head. No, not me. My companion. His voice trails off a bit, and his cheeks flush a little. Your companion? Asks one of the others. Who is she? CampAIgn looks up, meeting the gaze of each person sitting at the table. You'll have to ask her yourself when we find her. Alright, great. We dodged a crossbow bolt on that one. Chronicle chose to make CampAIgn a good guy, so I'm going to choose to ignore his comment on world domination. We learn a couple of new things in this segment, like how the creatures only come out at night. There are plenty of creatures in the monster manual that you could pick from for these creatures. And depending on which kind of creature you pick, will lead you to what brought them here in the first place. If there's a rift open to another plane of existence, it could be a displacer beast or a bodak from the Shadowfell, a moonstone dragon and its gremlin underlings from the Feywild. It could even be a new passageway to the Underdark, with creatures escaping from underground like a Flumph, a Night Hunter, or a horde of gibberlings. Think about how each choice could change this adventure. You could set up a trip to other planes for higher level characters, or a venture underground for lower level characters. We also learn one very important piece of the puzzle. CampAIgn had a companion who is presumably lost to these creatures. He hopes to find and rescue her because he seems a little lost without her. Chronicle, I knew you could understand true love.
Of course I do.
So, let's put together a plot hook. I like the idea that CampAIgn seems very suspicious at the beginning of this plot, so I'd like to involve a bit of mystery surrounding him. Since he's a little standoffish, this can make for some interesting role-playing opportunities for your players. Whispers of dark creatures lurking in the night set the town of Brynshorn on edge. A stranger arrives in town just days after an adventuring party goes missing, circulating rumors and speculation on his motives. Fearful of the coming days, the villagers of Brynshorn will turn to anyone to help protect them from this unknown force. From today's tales, what plot threads could you come up with? What did I miss? Was there anything today that gave you a bard's inspiration? Share your ideas down below and make sure you never miss another video. Remember, tools like Chronicle are a great resource for overcoming writer's block, but they aren't here to do all the work for you. Stories are meant to be told by us, the bards. Maybe this exercise helped turn some wheels inside your mind. Maybe you could take part of today's lesson and use it for your adventures. Maybe there are more mysteries to be uncovered, but I leave those for you to decide. After all, it's not my story to tell. Safe travels, friend.